people. So welcome to District 38's Pathways Learning, Pathways Base Camp, Pathways Enhancements. Whatever you're here to learn, we're going to cover it tonight. And as I said, I've been doing these all year. The audience is always different. And some people do return because they went back, they taught some people in their clubs, and now maybe they got some questions. They didn't know the answers, and they come back again. So I'm going to be sharing my screen most of the time, and write down your questions so that we can cover everything at the end. Because what I do is after the cameras are off, I can field the questions. And if I need to, I just bring things back up online and I show you exactly where to go. All right. So I am going to share my screen and let's see. All right. You have to get into Toastmasters on my home screen of Toastmasters. So when I share, it's there. Now, I shouldn't assume, but I will just say, I'm going to start at the home screen. So hopefully you have all at least signed in once to Toastmasters International. And if you haven't and don't know how, that could be one of the questions that we cover at the end. So if you have not selected a path or you're still working on that original path, but now you want to buy a new one, let me show you where to go to really get an understanding of the paths, okay, in the pathway program. So we are not going to go right into base camp. When you come to your home screen, you're going to click on education programs. All right. Now there's two ways that you can select a path. All right. I'm going to go down to choose a path, and I'm going to be given a couple of questions. What language do I want? This is an international organization. You can get the program materials in various different languages. So select the language that you identify or find easiest to follow. Now, you can view all learning, or you can take a path assessment. And let me just tell you about the path assessment. What that is, it's a series of questions all about you. How comfortable are you with public speaking? Are you comfortable meeting strangers? Can you talk comfortably when asked an impromptu question? Things like that. Are you a mentor? Ever have been a mentor? It asks you things because it wants to see where your needs are and what your likes and your dislikes are. After you take that assessment, it's going to recommend a couple of paths, but still, you don't know what's in those paths. So, this is why I tell everyone always choose the view all learning and hit continue. Now, I'm going to just give you an overview of this. All right. So, and the paths, it says $20. If you're a new member, that $20 registration fee gives you your first path for free. This price would be if I wanted to add another path to my base camp. So, and you can actually complete more than one path at a time. That's what's really great about the program. You can juggle between two paths, so you concentrate on communication skills in one path and leadership skills in another. Let me just give you an overall. And if you haven't gone in here lately, yes, it looks different. So they have updated this. Dynamic leadership. Now, it says negotiate and manage change, leadership skills for any situation. If you are thinking about, do I want to go for that supervisor promotion? Do I want to apply? Do I need experience? Do I need to just brush up on some of my skills? Dynamic leadership would be the way to go. You are going to start off doing the normal icebreakers and the one about choosing, managing, no, I'm sorry, vocal variety, body language. You're going to do an evaluation of feedback. But as you start to go on, the projects are going to start gearing towards leadership projects. It may have you do some projects where you need to lead a group of people. And you can do a project within your club. If you're a professional, you can do a project within the workplace, and that would count. So if you're involved with a volunteer organization or your church or wherever you worship, do projects there. This is where you can practice within the club or outside the club, but you're learning the skills along the way. So this is very good if you want leadership experience. Now, engaging humor, I would not recommend this for a beginner that's just starting pathways, or even to have as your second path. I think there's a lot more to learn in pathways before engaging humor. However, if you're an experienced speaker, but you want to become more relatable and you want to be able to just be more comfortable, try the engaging humor. But all your speeches are going to be targeting giving a certain type of speech, but making it humorous. So you have to be comfortable with that. Not everyone is comfortable with sprinkling in humor in their speeches, their table topics. So it could be challenging. Now, motivational strategies. This is a very good path if you're a supervisor or you want to be a supervisor, say, of a call center or a production environment team where everybody has to complete so many reviews, so many, data entry projects per day. You want to motivate your staff, right? The business that you may be in may be mundane and stuff like that, and you need to make it just a little bit more exciting. You may also have some challenges because of recent company communications and changes within the company. Well, how do you motivate your staff? What if you have a huge project, an IT project, and there are challenges and you just keep on hitting the wall? How do you overcome the, you know, just the feeling of defeat with your staff? So, using emotional intelligence and team building, you can overcome various different challenges. Okay. So, this would be a perfect path if you want to try that. I would even say you could use this if you're a Boy Scout leader or a Girl Scout leader, youth group. Okay. Anything where you have to motivate students. You could be a teacher. This may be very, very useful in learning how to motivate people. Persuasive influence. Love this. I am currently on this one, and it's how to write and communicate to people to Have them see things your way. Now, you may not convince people, but you want them to at least listen to you. So, how do I get your attention? How do I communicate things in a clear, concise manner so that I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of, details and statistics? I'm going to come to our meeting with exactly the pinpoint things that are going to get you to want to listen more to me. All right. It's also dealing with other people, conflict resolution, disturbances when you're in a meeting, things like that. So it's very high level leadership. This would be fantastic if you're already a leader and you really want to test your skills. Visionary communication, this is all about communication. So if you do need to practice your communication skills, verbal, written, impromptu, this is fantastic because it really does have you do various different projects where you have to deliver bad news. You have to communicate change. You have to present an idea to a group and then be able to handle all the feedback that you're getting, come to a consensus, and then finish the project on a positive note. So, and we know that not everyone may agree. So it's how to make the people that didn't get their idea selected still feel good about participating. So that is a very good path. And then we have presentation mastery. Presentation mastery is for someone that wants to learn the basic skills of communication and being a presenter. And it's also presenting in person, and you can practice in a Zoom setting as well. If your club is not on Zoom, you can take some of your speeches and ask another club if you can give a speech to practice how you are as a presenter online. Now, when a lot of us were Toastmasters before COVID. We were always standing up in front of a live audience. We knew how to use the stage, and that's all we knew. And all of a sudden, we were in this tiny box. And as you know, since COVID, a lot of corporations have now gone to Zoom meetings instead of putting everybody in a conference room. Well, your presentation of yourself online is just as important as the presentation you're going to deliver. Do you want to have yourself so close, to the camera or way far away? Do you want people to see you, your hand gestures? So right now I can't see myself. So I can't tell if you can see my hands with the gestures or not. But if I had the self view on, I would know to raise my hand gestures up so that it would make an impact to my presentation today. This also helps you learn the basics: vocal variety, facial expressions, body language, gestures, and using this stage. Like TED Talks, nobody stands right in the middle of the stage. They move about because it's a way to connect to your audience. Learning the basic techniques of presenting is a fantastic way to start your Toastmasters journey. I do recommend it for people that are getting over a fear or have no experience in presenting in public. So, but if you already do, select one of the other paths. And even if you have experience, you can still select it and practice all the skills in those projects as they come through your levels. Now, We do have something new that's coming about. And I think this is for a lot of the old timers that miss the legacy program, as we call it. So you can buy a vintage path of Toastmasters. This is what the path was. This is what the education program was back when it very first started. And a lot of people that started way back then may not be Toastmasters anymore, but people today may be really curious about what was the original program. Here you can purchase it. You can also purchase an advanced manual for $60. And this zooms in on storytelling and entertaining. Now, people say, oh, storytelling. Oh, you tell a story. No, storytelling is an art. You're telling a story, but you need to really reach your audience. You need to bring them on an emotional and visual journey as you're telling that story, as you're climbing up a mountain and you're describing everything. You want them to visualize that from the detail that you're giving. You want them to almost cry with you when you're telling a story about a loss that you suffered, or smile, laugh, and just totally lose it when you're telling a thrilling story about a vacation and some special excursion that you went on. Storytelling is an art, and not everybody can do it. I've seen some experienced Toastmaster. They can't master the art of storytelling, while others it comes natural. So these are the paths, the 6 paths that will come up when you take that quiz. Now you know what they're all about, and you would be able to select it. And what you do is, if you want presentation mastery, you just come on, click on it, double click. All right. And then it's coming up $20 because I already used my freebie. All right. But look where it brings you. And this is something that I would normally show you somewhere else, and I'll still show you, but it tells you all the different projects you're going to have to use. All right. Now, if you're already in a path, okay, you can get this list another way. All right. But anyway, so you would just do that, select to purchase, give them your credit card information, and then you would get the path loaded to your Basecamp. But let's go back to the education programs. If you already have selected your path, but you want to know what's coming up next, all right, you can go to Pathways, Paths, and Projects. Paths and Projects give you the 6 items. Let's go into Dynamic Leadership. Here's where you can find out ahead of time what you're going to be facing. All right. And if you want, you can go in this way to learn about the paths instead of the choose a path way. So you start out, as I said, icebreaker, writing a speech with purpose, vocal variety, evaluation, and feedback. Now it's starting to come into what's your leadership style? And you may be surprised when you take these, you didn't even know some things were a style. What's your communication style? When you're a leader, you got to be able to communicate. And then introduction to mentoring. Why is mentoring important? Because it means that you can help others and you put what benefits them before what am I going to get out of it? That's a sign of a good leader. Now, in Say level 3, you're going to negotiate the best outcome, and then you're going to choose 2 of the following. Look at all of these electives. Choose the electives that you think you'll get the most out of, not the ones that are the easiest and the quickest to do. All right. Level 4, managing change. Change is very difficult for people to accept. So that's why they want to make sure that you do this project, how you have to manage a change, communication, delivering, executing the whole thing. Elective projects. Again, you choose one of these following. And you don't just have to do the minimum. There are some times that I am so enjoying my path that I want to do manage projects successfully, and I want to try managing a difficult audience. So I may do 2 electives. You can do more than the minimum. Don't be afraid to do what you want to do in your path, and don't rush through. I don't want anyone to just rush through a path, because are you really getting the most out of it? We're paying $60 for 6 months. The most out of this that you can. And look at public relations strategies. I took marketing in college as my minor, but I wanted to see, well, that was a long time ago. What has changed? I did public relations strategy, so I can learn more up-to-date information on public relations. Level 5, lead in any situation, reflect on your path, and then one of these projects. So you can go through education programs and then paths and learning, and then click on whichever path that you want to look and see, all right, what are the projects that I'm going to be given? And if I'm going to get more out of dynamic leadership than motivational strategies, that's the one I'm going to select. All right. So that is how you select your path. And like I said, if you know these paths, you don't have to take the quiz. Just go and select the one you want, and then you'll have it added to your base camp. It's not going to be immediate. Just give it a little time, because it has to load everything in. Now, for those of you that know all about this, let's go back to home. And when you log in, this is how you're going to get to base camp. All right. Oh, we have an online agreement. Okay. Oh. All right. Let's see. So this is bringing me to my base camp. And as you can see, I have team collaboration. I'm going to finish this path hopefully next month. And then I'm starting persuasive influence, because I want to know how to get people to come and see things through my eyes. Okay. But it's a great way to demonstrate for you about how to navigate pathways. All right, so you come into your base camp, and the path that you selected. All right, you can see through the overview all of your levels. All right, level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are all here. You just click on the arrow and it opens up. Okay, now if you're starting a new path, I suggest do level 1 and do it in order. This is why. Your icebreaker. You need to do an icebreaker to introduce yourself to the club. So, and it's a great way just to connect with other members. They may come up and say, I didn't know you loved antiquing. Oh, I didn't know you made your own jam. I do too. So it's a good way just to open yourself up a little bit. Then, but now your icebreaker may also cover a lot of things about yourself. Writing a speech with purpose is having you try to focus on one thing and make a 5 to 7 minute speech about it. So you have to stay very focused on that one thing, bring in more details, more descriptive language, and everything. Doing an icebreaker and telling you about two things that I like is very easy, but to zone in on one may be difficult for some people. And if you're a person that tends to go very into detail, you're going to need to learn how to edit and only bring in what you need to bring a minute speech down to 5 to 7 minutes. Introduction to vocal variety and body language, fantastic, because, and even though it's on every single path, it's a reminder of how important our body language and vocal variety is within a speech. You don't want to be just monotone through a speech, and you don't want to just stand there. You want to use your facial expressions, you want to move your arms and use your gestures. This is will keep you reminding yourself of what you need. And evaluation and feedback. If you haven't done this yet, evaluation and feedback is when you give a speech, you're going to get your speech evaluation. Then you're going to give the same speech again, incorporating the feedback that you were given. And I guarantee you're going to feel different giving that speech the second time. You're going to realize that they gave me some really good feedback, constructive, useful feedback. And it gets you to realize how important the speech evaluations are. You also learn how to evaluate others so that you can start to really watch and to recognize things in other people's speeches. I learned from watching other people speak. That's why I love going to contests, because I just drink in their techniques of how they delivered the information, maybe how they handled having a conversation, illustrating a wife talking to the husband. I love how people do things like that. And then I can practice using it myself. So, level one, do these in order because each one builds up your skills to get better to do the next one. Now, level 2, 3, 4, and 5, they are all going to lay out what you need to do in here. So, what I do want to do though, let me go into level 1. Come on. All right. Come on. All right. I'm going to resume because I was already in level 1. I use my level 1 to practice and show people everything. All right. So when you come into your level 1, you're going to have a checklist. All right. And these are things that you need to do while you're in level 1. And this is part of the enhancements that Toastmasters added in October. So now they want you to participate as a table topic speaker before your icebreaker. Some people are comfortable doing that. Some people are not. Don't worry. You don't have to participate in table topics before your icebreaker. Some clubs, most clubs, should be calling up a volunteer asking them a question right there, and then you have to answer it. Very few clubs give the question and then get the volunteer. That's an easy way of doing table topics. And it's not realistic. If you're in a conversation with someone, they're going to ask you a question off the fly and you have to answer it. You can't just sit there and wait and think about it. And then from the time it would take you from getting up to your seat to the time you get to the stage, you have your answer. Someone's going to ask you a question, you need to have an answer. That's in the workplace, a job interview, parent teacher conferences, your boss. You need to know how to be able to handle impromptu speaking. And that can be scarier for some members than giving an icebreaker. So don't feel you have to do it before your icebreaker. But then it's giving you the different speeches, icebreaker, writing a speech with purpose, the vocal variety. But then it also wants you to complete the timer role or the counter role. And let me tell you, these should be done while you're in level 1, because these two things actually start to train your brain. Okay. Being a timer, you need to be able to listen to that speech, watch the stopwatch, do the cards, okay, or flip the cards, whatever your club does. Maybe you do it online if you have Zoom, and then record everything, reset your stopwatch on your device, and get ready for the next person. So it's a lot of multitasking. And that comes in handy when you're giving a speech, because your brain is not only busy giving the speech, but then it's also thinking, use gestures, walk along the stage, smile at this point, you know? You have to be able to think about different things while you're giving your speech. Being a timer kind of gets you prepared for that. Counter, believe it or not, you learn to be a better listener. Now, when you're first doing your counter role for the first time, maybe for the first 3 times, my hint is do not look at the speaker, because if you're like me, you get engrossed in the speech and then you kind of just don't hear those filler words. You don't hear when they're beginning their sentence with "and." And I went to the store and I picked up a Brillo pad, and then I went home and then I did the floor, and I finally got that pot the bottom of the pot. Every sentence is starting with "and." And that should have been hash marks, every time they do that. My clutch word is "so." I want someone to do that because I want to be reminded when I use "so" all the time. When I was younger, it was you know, I'd say something to my mother, and then something else, and being an odd counter and putting down those hash marks and telling people honestly, this is the filler words that you used. It helps them. Don't ever feel that you're going to offend them. You're helping them to recognize what they sound like. And hopefully they will take steps to slow down and to really think before they're speaking. And they may use the pause. Instead of saying "so," they may use another word. However, therefore, it depends on what they're talking about and what's appropriate. So there we are. Please be a timer or an counter. You can be both. They're both fantastic roles for beginners. but you have to be a table topic speaker and you have to do one of these other roles while you're also giving all of your speeches during your level one. Okay. Now, if you want to add a task, you can use this add a new task thing here. So suppose I did all of these items. Oh, yes, I was so fast. I got all my stuff done. All right. I don't know why it's popping up. Maybe because I did it too much. You can add a new task. All right. I was mentor to a member on base camp because I took Chris Velasco's class and I helped somebody else. So I'm adding that. All right. I checked it. So add your other things too. Now, what you can also use this for is what meeting were you a table topic speaker? All right. I was a table topic speaker on 416. All right. So this is where you can jot down notes. So when your VPE says, hey, I wasn't at all the meetings while you were in your level one, when did you complete your roles? Now, the VPE, no other member can see this, but you can cut and paste into a Word document or into an email and send it to whoever you need to in order to get credit. So add in here, you work timer, okay, on 4-9, all right, and then you were something else. Add this, put all your roles that you were here. And if you gave a speech at another club, add that in. I did my vocal variety and body language at midday Toastmasters. All right. I'm adding that in because they're going to say, we don't have this on the agenda that you ever gave that speech. You're going to say, oh no, I wanted to practice how I was on Zoom and midday Toastmasters or hybrid because I looked it up on the District 38 website and I found a hybrid club. So I gave a speech there. And here's my evaluation. See? So it's things just so you can keep track of what you're doing. Okay. Your speeches, your roles, your participation. You can do that here. All right. Now, after you've completed all of this stuff, and you're like, okay, I'm finally done with my level, you have to submit the level for completion. All right. So, see, now it's giving me this little thing to do. All right. Complete all projects, and the completion all projects is required. It's giving me a warning because right now, I haven't actually gone through and opened and completed the online tools. That's one thing that you do need to do. You can't just say, oh, I can write a speech with purpose and write it and not open the project. You have to go through and read the project. And some of them have videos, some of them have quizzes. Go through and learn. Otherwise, you're going to make up your own stuff and just give speeches. But what are you learning? You're not learning from Toastmasters International or their educational program. Read what's here. So, but if I did, I wouldn't be getting this red warning thing. Here's my club, Toastmasters. And if I had done everything, this little red submit button would be here for me to click on. When you click on submit, a message is sent to the officers for them to review. Now, if you are a VPE in your club, or if you want to know, well, who reviews this, it is the job of the Vice President of Education, Vice President Education, to review what work a member has done. Now, I have to tell you, when I was in another club, people they went through every single project online, but they didn't give speeches for everything. So when I looked at the agenda, because I was like, I know I only heard her speak 3 times, and there's 5 speeches in level 1. Plus, you have to be a speech evaluator. So I asked them, and they said, "Oh, I didn't know you had to give a speech every time." I was like, "Yeah." So let's go back and see which speeches you didn't give for those projects. And I worked with her, and she went, gave the extra speeches, and then I could approve her level 1. I've had other people that just give speeches, 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 and they never cracked open any of the projects. I couldn't approve it. Now, this was under before they added this new part. You, I would say before October, you could have just given speeches and not read anything and get approved. But I, as a VPE, I want members of my club to learn, because if they don't learn anything, I don't know if they're going to renew their dues in 6 months. And it's my job to make sure everyone is learning and growing as not only a public speaker, but a leader and a communicator. So I want people to get the most out of this program. And I had to explain, you need to go through and just read some things. And believe it or not, they came back and said, wow, I can believe what I learned in there. Can I give some of these speeches over again? I said, sure. So even though they read it and they already had given the speeches, they actually wanted to do better. And they gave certain speeches over again because they learned what that project really was all about. So this is how you would complete your various different levels. Okay. Go online, go through each one. And what I mean by go through each one, let's see. Come on. Come on. Let's see. Level 1. I'm sorry, it's slow. Sometimes when we share our own screens, then the system slows down a bit. But you would click on the project that you want to do, and you will see, all right, here's the meeting. Oh, if you do want to learn about meeting roles, if you want a timer script and a log, learn how to evaluate, there's some extra resources here. Okay. And then it does go into various different uh, selections of or explanations of different things. Okay. There's reflection questions. All right. Complete my requirements. Okay. Confirm. Project completed. All right. What I want to show you is how to move through one of the projects, because there are certain ways. Come on. Why isn't it doing it? Come on. It could be because I've gone through these several times. Here we go. All right. Writing a speech with purpose. Okay. You will see they're going to give you various different things. There's a next button on the bottom of the page. Open up the various different carrots so that you can read everything. Hit the next button. But then there are times you will see there's videos in here. There may be quizzes in here. All right. This is what do I know about myself and what do I wonder? All right. But there are parts where there's a caret over on the side. And that's where, see, here's questions. So most of the pages are going to have the next button down the bottom, but there are some where the screen is the full screen. It's just on your one screen. You don't have to space down. And there's a caret on the side, and that's how you move things forward for those types of screens. So, but see, this is just now, this is writing a speech with purpose, but it's telling you about spatial structures. It really opens your eyes to so many things about presenting. All right. Organizational structure. There's so many different ways to organize a speech. So use this as a tool for you to really learn, just drink in everything that it has to offer. Really enjoy your speeches. If your club has a mentor program and an experienced member is going to mentor you, use them. Ask them questions about, hey, this is what I was thinking for this speech. And they'll tell you that would be perfect for that project. Or, well, it may be challenging, especially, let's say, if you're doing the vocal variety speech and body language, and you want to tell us how to write code, all right, that doesn't really give you, it doesn't lend itself to using vocal variety and body language since you're going to be explaining how to write code. Vocal variety and body language would be perfect for family vacation or when you climbed Everest, that type of thing, because you're going to use your voice, you're going to use your facial expressions and your gestures. So your mentor may be able to guide you there of what is more appropriate for the project that you're doing. And it's not saying that you can't give that coding speech. You can give it maybe for evaluation and feedback. And then you'll get your feedback and you'll learn how to make that more palatable or more adaptive to the audience that you had that day. Okay. Because a lot of Toastmasters knowledge is learning how to know your audience and how to connect with them and learning how to code given to some accountants. You're not gonna connect there. But learning how to code to some students that are thinking about options for college and they want to learn, okay, coding, AI, what's coming down the pike. Yes, you're going to have a captivated audience. So really drink in a lot of this stuff. Now, I do want to show you some forms that I found very useful, and I always share it with new members. First, it's the goal setting worksheet. The goal setting worksheet it's in with your resources, and it makes you think about, what do I want to get out of this? What is a short-term goal? Could be fear of overcoming a fear of public speaking. Stop stuttering when I speak. Midterm goals could be learning how to be comfortable on the stage where I can move about and connect to the audience. And a long-term goal is I want to be a motivational speaker. So it helps a newer member set goals for themselves. But experienced members can use this too. You may have already completed 2 paths, 3 paths. You may be a DTM, but you're still a Toastmaster. So, as a DTM, what do you want to get out of the program? What challenge do you want to give yourself? So, using this worksheet is doesn't matter where you are as a Toastmaster, but it helps you to keep your eye on your goals. And it really does feel good when you accomplish those goals. The other thing that I want to show you is, come on. Nope. I don't know why this is popping up. Nope. All right, I have to get it up first on my screen. Nope. All right. This is a one pager that I created that helps you, again, remember what you need to do in every single level. Okay. So, level one, these are the enhancements. You may know your pathways and your projects, your speeches, hands down, but you may need a reminder of what extra meeting roles you need to do. So, like I said, I'll counter a timer. You're going to be a speech evaluator because that's part of evaluation and feedback, and you're going to be a table topic speaker. But when you get into, say, level 3, remember when I said um, where you can add things? All right. If you help someone manage their way through base camp, you help someone pick their next path. Introductory mentor. That's what that role, that's what you did. You mentored another member on something related to Toastmasters. All right. You may not be a mentor to them like an assigned in an official capacity, but you were helping people. And that is a role, and it's a newer role. So write it down when you do things like that to remind yourself when you go to submit your level 3. Oh, yeah, I helped Sally and Joe and Kathy how to submit their level completions online. I took the time and we set up a Zoom call and I showed them all how to do it. And I walked them through each one and they all submitted their level completions. Well, that's fantastic because that not only taught them, but now the BPE can approve after reviewing 3 level completions, and that benefits the club. All right. But there's extra speeches that come into play in level 3, 4, and 5. And you need to do these in your club. All right. So for level 3, it's one of these speeches from the Successful Club series. In level 4, you need to do 2 extra speeches, one from the Successful Club series and one from the Better Speaker series. Okay. These series are educational programs that we had in the legacy program. And I have to tell you, they really zone in on techniques and things that benefit the club. And I think that's why they brought them back, because if you're giving a speech, how to be a distinguished club, well, you may be opening the eyes of every member to how their progression in their levels and their level completion helps the club when it comes to meeting the requirements of Toastmasters International. Every club has an objective, and that is to maintain their membership and to also reach or achieve at least 5 goals in the Distinguished Club program. So when someone gives that speech, they're explaining how every member contributes to that Distinguished Club program. The Better Speaker series here, impromptu speaking, selecting your topic, know your audience. These are all fantastic things that other members can learn when someone in level 3 gives one of these speeches. So by requiring these speeches through the enhancements, it's benefiting every single club member that's there to hear that speech. And level 5, you have to do one from Successful Club and then one from the Leadership Excellence series. And so I'm going to send this to everyone that's here tonight. And if you want to look into these projects, like suppose right now you're in level 1 and you don't know what to talk about. And now you know, hey, there's a whole thing about selecting my topic, or how do I begin my speech? How's a good way to conclude my speech? You can read these as a resource, and that'll help you as well. You don't have to give the speeches. You can just look these up and read it for your own personal growth. So I will give this to you, and I'm also going to give you a link to where all of those projects and speeches are so that you have access to them in case you need them. And as a mentor in your club, make sure all your members have access to that as well so that they can get the tools that they need in order to improve their techniques, improve how comfortable they are, and just enjoy their journey in Toastmasters. Now, I would love to hear any questions that people have about what I've covered. And if I have to, I'll jump back in. I know it's 8 o'clock, but I will stay on here and answer any questions you may have.
How do you want us to ask?
Okay,
On the
I
chat?
saw Rosalind waving her hand, so let's go to Rosalind first, and Dilip, I'll get back to you.
Thank you.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, I did not mean to cut you off. I just
No,
wanted
no,
to,
no, Razan, that's perfect. Go ahead, please.
I just wanted to say thank you, Chris. This is actually my third time taking this class, and I have learned so much. I took some really good notes, and I had a question because I have a member. I think a potential member. I looked online. Looks like she's signing up, but I had a private conversation with her. We talked for 30 minutes, and she asked me because she's a high level exec. And her boss thought it would be a good idea to uh join Toastmasters, but she said, I give presentations all the time. I'm not nervous about that, but my problem is that I'm talking too high. So I told her Toastmasters will help you. First of all, you have to know your audience. She's talking to people that just came in the door, and the stuff that she's talking to them is going way over their head. So I just wanted
Yes.
to thank you for this is dynamic. I'm actually on level 5, and I might have to call you on the side because I still, even though I took notes, I'm doing mentoring. That's one of my projects, but I haven't given a speech in a while because it said podcast or blog. I'm not good with all that stuff. So I said, well,
Right.
I'll do mentoring. So I'm actually in the mentoring program right now. But
Okay.
thank you for helping me. I appreciate you.
Yes. And what I love about this is it the more you know about this, you can guide a new member. And when some people, they may have new members joining, but they can't seal the deal or close the sale, whatever, terminology you want to know, because they don't know enough about pathways and all the paths available. So every officer should know pathways and should know how to navigate and show their members how to learn about the paths before they select. A lot of people just go right in there and select a path. And I've had new members say, I did an icebreaker and writing a speech with purpose, but now after attending, I'm in the wrong path. I shouldn't be in this path. How do I move? And I've had to say,
Chris,
look, yeah.
Chris,
Mhm.
Chris, hi. We're this is our club meeting and we have our whole club here. So we have a couple questions. Dad, go ahead.
Oh, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have a
What
question?
is the the best way of remembering the information? Because I see that it's a lot of stuff on the computer. Would you recommend someone writing it down for their cognitive uh development? Like, sometimes it's easier to write it down than it is to type it in.
Type it in where? What
Type
what do
it
you
in
mean?
the path. Type it in the path on your computer, on the computer.
You want to do it manually instead of in the computer?
No, I know you got to do it in the computer, but I'm just saying, for some people, it's easier to write it down, even though you might have to do it twice.
Okay, what you can do, all right, let me just share this. All right, wait a minute. When you are in Toastmasters International and you're in your base, and when you're in base camp, you have the ability to print it out. So if you want to highlight things and you want to, if you're better with things like that, you can print it out. And but it's going to come out black and white if that's all you have, but and it's going to use a lot of your home printer ink. So it may be tough for some people, but you do have the option of printing it out. All right. So let me just go back here, share. And where am I? Yes. All right. So here I am in my icebreaker. All right. All right. Complete your at the very end after you've read things, or if you don't want to, you can come right to this area. No, where is it? You're gonna get a no, previous. I have to back it up. You will get an opportunity to print everything out. Here's your evaluation, member feedback, how to evaluate. It's towards the end of your path when it's on the screen, when you usually print out your evaluation. And that's where it'll say, print out my project, print out this project. And that's where you can print it out for yourself. And then you can highlight, you can write notes in the margins and stuff. So if you are a more, hands-on person and writing things down, You could do it that way. Or as you're going through these things, all right, you want to meet with your evaluator. If you want to have a notebook, create a notebook and you create one for every single speech that you do. If that's what you need to do. We all learn differently. And I don't want you to feel like you only can read it online. There's a lot of different ways to do it. See, write it out. So these are all different things, different hints of how to get through a project and how to write your speech, prepare for your speech, and everything. So you can go through and see what's best for you. But if you need to, and I'm sorry, I thought it was on this page. New task, your evaluation. Let me just go forward. Take your time, complete your projects. No wonder learned. No, next. I don't know where it went to. It
Chris,
was
we're
always,
gonna have to wrap it up soon. Did you say that
yeah,
there are icebreakers for each path? You have to do an icebreaker for each path? Did I understand that
yes,
correctly?
yes. But your icebreaker for your second path doesn't have to be an introduction to, and I'm introducing you to the club because people know you already. My
Right.
icebreaker for a second path could be, hey, I went on vacation, or hey, I bought a new car, and this is what I went through in order to buy a new car. You know, so it doesn't have to be an icebreaker. It could just be something that you did. Okay. Dilip, you had a question.
Yes, thank you. Sometime during your presentation, you kept talking about a carrot. I just couldn't see
Yes.
what you're talking about, and I didn't see anything that looked like a carrot. So,
Yeah.
could you explain what you were saying?
Okay. A carrot. All right. Let's see here. It's a little. No, 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 no. Cancel. All right. When it looks, a carrot is this. All right. Can you see it? It's like a little
Oh,
arrow.
that's a carrot.
That's
Got
a
you.
carrot. And a
Okay.
carrot can be up, it could be down, or it could be sideways. So, but that's how you open up to expand things and to also move forward. So, depending on what screen you're on, you're going to open up things or you're going to use a carrot in order to move forward or back. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
It just
No,
guides
that's
us
fine.
through.
Sometimes I forget. I have to, roll it back a little bit.
Right, right. No, thank you. That was helpful.
No. Chris,
All
did
right.
you say that you said do the speeches in level one in order? But what about each of the other levels? Do you have to do them in order as well?
You don't have to. The only reason why I expect or I encourage it for level one for a new member is because your icebreaker helps you get over the fear, and then you do writing with purpose to concentrate on one topic. That helps you for vocal variety and body language. And then those skills will help you with evaluation and feedback. So one speech helps you do the next one. When you get to levels 2 through 5, they are independent speeches. All right. They're going to give you more information and have you grow as a Toastmaster, but they don't necessarily build upon itself like level one does. So you can skip around.
Thank you so much for this session. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And Darlene, you can do a level 2 speech and jump to a level 3 speech and then go back to a level 2. So you can jump back and forth between levels. However, you cannot submit a level 3 before you submit a level 2. So that's the only thing. All right, you have to submit your levels in order, but you can jump around. All right, any other questions?
You've been very helpful. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what I would like to point out is we are ending the year in District 38 on a very strong note here. So I want to make sure everyone knows that we have a huge lineup of master classes that we have coming. If you are a VP PR, and if you are a secretary or SAA, whoever in your club manages your free toast host site, you really do need to go to the beginner class or the intermediate class, because clubs can lose possible guest or a member because of a boring free toast host site. Learn how to zhuzh it up, learn how to make it exciting and draw in, attract those guests to your club. And then we also, and that's going to be May 5th, May 12th. We also have on May 19th, I'm waiting for our webmaster to come back. We have another class on May 19th. If you're interested in what does it take to be a DTM, we're going to cover that. And we're going to actually help you figure out how to find ways to complete all of your projects and the requirements for a DTM. Tim Tilson, last year's Table Topics winner, district winner, is going to have a panel and of experienced Toastmasters talking about how to improve your table topics, how to have a winning table topics response if you want to enter into contests. But table topics, just being able to handle those impromptu questions, it does become a really great skill. And when the panel is going to help you learn how to better yourself. We also have Cherry Ann Joseph that is going to talk about team building for officers or just team building in general, not only to make your club stronger, but if you're in a workplace and you have a team, how you can make it a better team. And then Seth Greenfield is going to talk about how you take a nothing moment in your life and how you can turn it into a wonderful, exciting speech. So we're going to be having a lot of different events in May and June before District 38 becomes something of the past. So keep on checking our District 38 website and sign up for the last courses, because once we become District 221, we don't know if we're going to have these master classes or opportunities like this to keep learning. So encourage all your club members to join the master classes, drink in all that you can before District 38 closes its doors, okay? If you have any questions, Dante, who do you have poking in that screen? But if you have any questions, you'll get my email. You can always email me any questions that you have. And if you need help for a club, I will come to your meeting on Zoom. Or if you're local, I'll stop in and give a live presentation on whatever subject you need. All right. I'm here for you as the education chair. Use me. You got 2 more months. All right. And end on a very, very strong note. Thank you for joining and have a wonderful rest of your evening. Good night.
Thank you, Chris. You
Thank you.
too. Good
Good
night,
night.
everybody.